first reading is Exodus 13, verses 17 to 22. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was nearer, for God thought. If the people face war, they may change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people by a roundabout way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of the land of Egypt, prepared for battle. And Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had required a solemn oath of the Israelites, saying, God will surely take notice of you, and then you must carry my bones with you from here. They set out from Succoth and camped in Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went in front of them in a pillar of cloud by day to lead them along the way, and in a pillar of fire by night to give them light, so they might travel by day and by night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people.
They set up the tabernacle, the tent of the covenant, and the cloud covered it. And from evening until morning, the cloud was over the tabernacle, having the appearance of fire. It was always so the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. Whenever the cloud lifted from over the tent, then the Israelites would set out. And in the place where the cloud settled down, there the Israelites would camp. At the command of the Lord, the Israelites would set out, and at the command of the Lord, they would camp. As long as the cloud rested over the tabernacle, they would remain in camp. Even when the cloud continued over the tabernacle many days, the Israelites would keep the command of the Lord and would not set out. Sometimes the cloud would remain a few days over the tabernacle, and according to the command of the Lord, they would remain in camp. Then, according to the command of the Lord, they would set out. Sometimes the cloud would remain from evening until morning. And when the cloud lifted in the morning, they would set out. Or, if it continued for a day and a night, when the cloud lifted, they would set out. Whether it was 2 days, or a month, or a longer time, then the cloud continued over the tabernacle. Resting upon it, the Israelites would remain in camp and would not set out. But when it lifted, they would set out. At the command of the Lord, they would camp, and at the command of the Lord, they would set out. They kept the charge of the Lord at the command of the Lord by Moses.
This is from John 14, verses 1 to 7. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again, and I will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also. And you know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where we are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him.
What comes to your mind when you hear the word heretic? Somebody twisted, intentionally subverting the faith, leading other people astray? Or just some poor soul who gets on the wrong side of the faith police? It's not a word we ever use in our progressive church. We're open-minded here. We pride ourselves on that. With the range of understandings we hold about God and the scriptures and Jesus, we shy away from saying that person's right and the person over there is wrong. Some of us here are survivors of spiritual abuse in other places where it was all too clearly laid out what you were supposed to believe. We got in trouble for believing outside the lines. Some of us are just on a journey from old beliefs we've outgrown into a new maturity that isn't quite there yet. And others wonder what all the fuss is about. That old-time religion was good enough for my parents, and it's good enough for me. We talked about this in the new members group last month. It's a familiar question by now, what sort of declaration of faith a new member should take in order to become part of this church. We found ourselves pulling in two directions. Some expected that there would be a statement of faith rooted in our church's DNA that they would be expected to make, and they were up for that. That's where their spiritual journey had led them, to a place where a solid declaration of Christian faith was possible and appropriate. I totally get where they're coming from. But others needed their options open. They had maybe more questions than answers at this point. If our church has a theological DNA, it's that we love people who have questions. We love the questions. You just won't find us drawing lines, because then some people's faith would fall outside. And the reality is an openness that can include us all with the twists and turns our journeys take. Actually, if we have a theological DNA in this congregation, it's that this journey all of us are on is intensely serious business. It deserves all our love, heart and soul and mind and strength. Those questions deserve our attention. We don't just put them on the back burner and forget about them. This is serious business. But it doesn't mean that we're all in the same place at any given point in time. And if you raise an objection to me, surely there are limits. That's maybe what that first group would say. Yes, I'm sure there are. We wouldn't be very happy with a devil worshiper who wanted to come and join the church. We wouldn't be happy with someone who wanted to sacrifice little animals out in our chapel outside. But our instinct is to let the limits look after themselves, if that's not too lazy a way of talking about it. If somebody's really over the line, we'll recognize it. My sense is that we don't want to think about that till we have to. We'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it. Over these next few Sundays, I want to explore some of the classic heresies of the Christian history. There are several reasons for this. The first is that I find them absolutely fascinating. We practically never delve into church history, but there are some really good stories out there. The second is that some of the beliefs that mainstream Christianity has rejected as outside the lines are alive and well in our 21st century Pacific Northwest world. I had a lovely encounter yesterday morning with a couple who left as they were stepping out the door, were recommending to me books I should read about Gnosticism. This is really good stuff, they said. And there's somebody in the Thursday night Bible study who brings all of those alternative gospels. Why don't we read these? Let's read these instead. As we name some of the heresies, I'm positive that you will recognize people you know, maybe even yourselves. There are one or two of them, I confess, that attract me. And the final reason is that taking a mental journey into these other places will give us a better appreciation for being home, At least I hope that's true. I hope that we will see home with new eyes, just like when we've gone on a trip someplace and arrived back from the airport. The new members group is meeting again next Sunday, and we have unfinished business around what it means to feel at home here. When you plan a trip to an exotic place, there are preparations to make. If I'm just going to my mom's for the night, I pack my toothbrush, clean pair of underwear, but that's enough. But we had house guests from Australia staying with us last weekend, who were on their way to a cruise in Alaska and then a long bus ride across the Canadian Rockies. They had two of the biggest, heaviest suitcases I have ever encountered. I didn't even pretend to help lift them out of the car. Couldn't believe when they wanted to drag them upstairs in our house. They had one of those folders, big folders snap on the front, passports in a special pocket, itinerary, tickets, excursion coupons, hotel addresses and phone numbers, insurance documents, and a big label about who to contact in case of emergency. Then they go into their luggage and pull out treasures, hats and sunscreen, a little teeny camera on a stick called a GoPro, that was new to me, a very nice bottle of Australian wine, which they gave to us. And given the weight of the suitcases, I think there were several more of those inside. You get the idea. So I want you to think of today's sermon as the travel bag. There are some essentials to consider, to pack, before we head off into the unknown territory. Before we come face to face with any heretics, I'd like for us to be clear about what we bring to the encounter. The first thing is the Bible. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was nearer. For God thought if the people faced war, they may change their minds and go back to Egypt. So God led the people by the roundabout way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. The Lord went in front of them in a pillar of cloud by day to lead them along the way, and in a pillar of fire by night to give them light, so that they might travel by day and by night. The Bible wants us to know that God stands ready to lead us. We have to be willing to follow, but if we are, God will be there with signs that we can see, that make sense to us, that we can understand. The road may be twisty and convoluted. You might well ask, why did it take those Israelites 40 years to get from Egypt to Canaan? It is not that far. Draw a straight line from one to the other, they could have been there in a matter of a few days. Well, the Bible says that God had a reason for keeping them here and there, charting the journey the way that it happened before they got to their promised land. There's even a passage that resonates beautifully for us in Seattle. Hope you appreciated what Alan read to us. Wasn't it repetitious? But you don't want to miss the point. If the cloud is sitting on top of you, you don't move. Whether it's 2 days or a month or longer, if you're under that cloud, you wait. And then when the cloud lifts, off you go until the cloud settles. And then you know where your place is. Your place is under the cloud, right? And on it goes, month after month after month. Everything you can be foggy until you think God isn't there at all and you were just imagining the whole thing. And then one day, the light breaks through, the door opens, possibility beckons, and it's time to move again. God in the lead. The one who made us is deeply and passionately committed to what happens to us and what we make of these lives of ours. And we are never alone. Remember that when the heretics start talking about two different gods or about God really far away, the Bible is explicit on the subject. God is near. God cares. God is involved, hands-on. The Bible says many other things, of course, but on the matter of God's concern for us, it never wavers. The second thing is Jesus. The cloud and the fire are terrific. What a great picture of God leading the people to their new destiny, but clearly mythological, huh? The stuff of legend, metaphor. How does God really lead? The witness of the church is that it isn't necessarily through miracles. It isn't through a book of instructions. It isn't through a philosophy. It's through a human being, a human life. God's clearest self-expression was through this man Jesus, his earthly ministry, his death, and his risen life. Thomas says to him, "What do you mean we know the way? We don't know the way. Show us the way." He's looking for answers. He wants it explained, where Jesus is going, what's going to happen, what they're supposed to do. "I am the way," Jesus answers. It's simple, breathtaking. Look no further. And sure, people have written thousands of books since then. We're drowning in Christian philosophies. But at the risk of a cliche, if you're ever stuck, try asking, what would Jesus do? It's startling how often a clear answer comes ringing through. He is clarity when we don't know the way. He is a touchstone when we're looking for truth. He is life when everything seems barren. A whole new life that bubbles up full of energy, enabling us to do things we never knew we could do. When in doubt, look to him. We need to remember that as we set out into places where there aren't any maps or any landmarks. There is always this landmark. As one bishop put it when challenged to sum up the faith, God is. God is as he is in Jesus. Therefore, there's hope. Maybe we get worried when Jesus continues, "No one comes to the Father except through me." Disturbing, uncomfortable words in our diverse worlds. But as we venture into thought worlds that are seriously different from ours, I'd be so bold as to ask you to agree that anyone who professes a God who is not Christ-like has got it wrong. And that definitely includes some of the heretics we'll be visiting over these next few weeks. Other heretics were more Christ-like than the church of their day. So you judge. We'll all judge. That's how it works. Next week, we're going to start with the New Testament and a fault line that runs right down the middle, winners and losers, an epic struggle in which we too are called to take sides. Then time is going to feel short. There are so many stories to tell. Arius and Donatus and Pelagius, the Gnostics, the Da Vinci Code. We will only scratch the surface. Whistle-stop tour, as the Brits used to say. But when we're done, I hope you find it worthwhile to have all those stamps in your passport. And I hope more than anything that we will all see home with new eyes. To be continued. Amen. God leads and calls us to follow. And that's what our offering is about. Our gifts enable the work to happen. We will receive them now.